Croeso Sianel Blaid Llwyd. Before we begin the story, Howley and I like to tell you that Arches can be an emotionally intense experience and may not be for everyone. Yes, I know I said we weren't going to be coming back with the video until Saturday. Then I found out Arches was coming out, so it's fine. My allergies have cleared up quite a bit now, so I'm doing well. I can talk normally again. But we will still be, unless something else happens, going ahead with Dawn Chorus on the weekend. But for now, let's head back in to where we left things with Dev and Cam. Cameron watches as the motel parking lot disappears into the night. They'd left most of their stuff behind in the room, only bringing along what they absolutely needed. Cameron wanted to take it a bit slower, to think things over before running away like this. But weirdly enough, it was Devon that was ushering him out as quickly as he could. Well, no, it made sense. What was truly weird was how Cameron had felt, and how he still feels now. Despite what had just happened, despite the absolute horror of it all, there's a part of Cameron that still wants to stay. Cameron has to assume this is nothing like what Dev had seen in his previous investigations, that maybe he also felt that overwhelming feeling of wrongness. But it also feels wrong to just leave after hearing what he had heard. He'd expected Dev to want to stay after Cameron told him about Lupita. And if Dev had asked him to stay, Cameron would have done so, if only to search for better closure after hearing her scream. Despite Dev's calm appearance, Cameron knows that his mind must be in turmoil right now. Now, with the night ending like this, he thinks that maybe he shouldn't have told Dev what he heard. Yeah, he promised to be honest about it, but the hallucination, no. The vision felt like a lie somehow, a trick. It felt real, it happened, but it also felt like something nefarious was behind it all. He felt it when the wolf focused on him, as if that unseen something had taken the wheel and started steering things where it wanted them to go. Even if he has no idea what that something could be, Cameron hopes that's the case. The alternative is that the afterlife really is only suffering, and that would mean his mother is in the same place. That everyone's going to that place. Cameron squirms in his seat, the feeling of a suffocating dread creeping up under his neck. Drowning forever. Cameron suddenly turns to look at his boyfriend, unable to deal with the awkward silence any longer. Devon? Devon tilts his head slightly in Cameron's direction, brows raised to show he's listening. Oh yeah, honey? He doesn't take his eyes off the road. Either because it's night time, or more likely because of what they just dealt with, the bear is being extra cautious. Still, there's a sense of urgency in his driving, like he's trying to get out of there as fast as he can. Cameron struggles to find the right words. Hey, let's talk when I get on the freeway, okay? I just gotta focus right now. Cameron can't wait until then. Are we coming back? Cameron sees Dev's brows rise again, this time in surprise. No, of course not. We're done. I'm an idiot for doing this in the first place. And again, I'm sorry. Cameron can't quash the feeling that he should be the one apologising right now. But well, there's a theme park in Payton called Southwest Adventures. I thought about going there at the end of our investigation, but we could do that tomorrow instead. Dev pauses, apparently waiting for a response, but Cameron can't think of one to give him. I think it could be fun. Cameron is almost certain that's the same word Devon used just before they left to describe how this investigation would feel. Fun. I think we need to come back. We can't just leave things like that. That was just so fucked. Cameron sees Dev grit his teeth, and Coyote feels himself recoil a bit, like he did on a daily basis with Dylan. Sorry, No, you're fine. I'm having trouble seeing the goddamn road. Let's just leave it until I can see where I'm going, okay, hun? The coyote steels himself. He shouldn't ever feel afraid of Devon. He didn't need to. I think we should come back tomorrow. Keep this going like you planned. There's something more to this, and I want to help find out what it is. He says it firmly, in a way that he hopes shows Devon that he's not completely fragile, even if he did break down in the motel room. Devon is quiet, and Cameron feels himself start to get a little frustrated that he's being ignored. But then the bear responds. No, I don't think so. I'll probably come back, but with another sidekick. I'm not going to put you through that ever again. Despite knowing Dev meant nothing by that, Cameron feels offended, like Devon doesn't think he's good enough or strong enough to do this. But I want to, especially if you're just going to come back. You think I'm just going to sit at home knowing you're back out in this hellhole? Well, listen, Cameron, I've been to a lot of haunted places. There's something different about this town that feels really off. Fucked, like you said. I don't want you anywhere near it. Now it's Cameron who grits his teeth. But I want to. You still want it? I know you need to find answers, but after feeling what I felt, I need answers too. Dev's careful manoeuvring along the broken road hits a pothole and the interior shakes. Devon winces. Hey, please, let's talk about this later. I just want to get us to Peyton safely right now. And just like that, Cameron's determination dries up. He hates himself for being such a coward. Things had always felt unequal in their relationship, but it's rare for Dev to just say it out loud, tell the coyote what's good for him, even though Cameron told him what he wanted. It's nothing like it was with Dylan, but the feeling is similar, and Cameron doesn't like that. Well, what if I don't want you to come back here either? Devon takes a deep breath, but manages to keep calm. Then we can talk about it, when we're safely back home. Cameron goes quiet again. They're halfway past the lake, the body of water looking like a giant dark pit, except where the moon glitters on its surface. And that's when Cameron sees something out of the corner of his eye. There's something on the road between two craters of broken asphalt. Cameron stares for several seconds, not sure if he's seen what he thinks he's seen. He waits for Devon to say something, to wonder what the hell that is in front of them. But he says nothing, almost like he doesn't see it. Yet, there it is, right in front of them. It's right where Devon is about to go, and the bear isn't stopping. Cameron manages to jerk himself out of his stunned daze. Oh my god, Dev, look! Huh? Dev finally looks at Cameron, his eyes off the road, and still the jeep moves forward. Stop! Why wasn't he stopping? The coyote does the first thing that comes to his mind. Time slows down. Just like what happened back in high school, right before he got hit by a car while skateboarding. He has more time to react now than he did then, though, and he slides his arm under his seatbelt to get free and reaches across the centre console. He grabs the wheel, and even though Dev is starting to brake, it's not fast enough, and they're less than 20 feet away from hitting it. The coyote doesn't even think, acting on pure instinct. Cameron turns the wheel to the right, hard. Devon can't comprehend what Cameron's doing before they hit something, and the jolt is far worse than any pothole he'd hit on the road. Devon is thrown into his seatbelt. In the back of his mind, he'd been aware that Cameron was half out of his own seatbelt. Driven by what felt like pure reflex, Devon had thrown his arm across the coyote in an attempt to hold him back. Cameron's muzzle meets the bear's thick arm before his forearm smacks into the screen of the head unit. A numbing, tingling feeling explodes across his entire arm. Ah, fuck! Dev brings his arm to his chest, cradling as he winces. Are you alright? Cameron's breathless voice next to him is enough to reassure Dev that Coyote isn't seriously injured. The airbags hadn't even deployed, even though the impact had felt serious. Oh yeah, my funny bone. What about you? Let me see your face. Dev tries to grab Cameron's muzzle to have a closer look at him. It's hard to see with only the glow of the jeep's headlights, now dimmed from the swirling dust kicked up by the accident. But Cameron pulls away, opening his door to get out. Cameron, what? The coyote yelps as he seems to lose his footing immediately and falls hard. Come! Devon buckles his seatbelt and almost tries to climb out Cameron's side of the Jeep. Then, realising what he's doing, opens his own door. Dust coats his mouth, and immediately can still see echo from here. He knew this was going to happen. That something was going to prevent them from getting out. He could feel it since he started driving. He just didn't expect Cameron to be the one to do it. The Jeep is tilted forward, the front wheels wedged into a deep trench carved up by years of flooding along the edge of the road. Dev stumbles around the front of the Jeep, squinting against the headlights while looking down where Cameron had fallen. But he only sees blackness. Cameron? He starts to panic, seriously considering the coyote could have fallen into a sinkhole, but then... Over here! Dev looks back towards the road, the dust finally clearing, and sees that Cameron is already there, standing in the middle of it looking around confused like he's lost something. What the fuck are you doing? Dev stumbles back around the Jeep, just wanting to get the coyote back inside so he doesn't go running off somewhere. The bear already suspects that Cameron is having a mental breakdown. If they don't get the hell out of here soon, Dev thinks he might just join him. I saw someone. Cameron, slow down. Let me see your face. It almost broke my arm. No, I know I did. Cameron ignores Dev's paws that are reaching up towards him and starts walking up the road, looking back and forth. Cam. Ugh. The stress of the accident on top of seeing his boyfriend walking back towards the evil town is too much for the bear. He grabs Cameron's arm, forcing him to turn around fully and face him. What the hell are you doing? Cameron flinches and raises his arms up, crossing one wrist over the other, covering his face like he thinks Dev is going to... Cameron, what? But the coyote just lowers his arms, looking around again. I saw something. Someone. It was like a little kid sitting on the road. Didn't you see them? Devon just wants to ask why Cameron acted like he was going to hit him. The coyote is in such clear distress the bear isn't sure what to say. And Cameron looks at the Jeep as if seeing what had happened for the first time. Shit, I didn't mean to crash your car. I swear I saw someone and I wouldn't do that on purpose. Cameron's breath starts to become erratic, gasping for air. Honey, come here. I can't breathe. Dev wraps his arms around the coyote, even as he starts to try and pull away. Let go. I need to go. Listen, Cameron. Breathe with me. Dev presses the side of Cameron's head to his chest and takes a deep breath. Remember? In and out, slowly. Dev keeps his voice upbeat, his expression cheerful, the complete opposite of what he's actually feeling right now. But showing how distressed he was clearly wasn't helping the situation. So this breathing exercise is also for his benefit. The last time they'd done it was at least a few years ago now. And just like last time, it seems to work. The coyote fighting is gasping for a minute, for his breathing becomes more steady, albeit a little shaky. They breathe in unison for a few minutes, the bear stroking Cameron's head like he had only half an hour ago in the motel room. Was it really only 2 hours ago they'd been giddy at the thought of a paranormal investigation with his psychic boyfriend? Finally, Cameron pulls away gently. I'm sorry. Hey, don't apologise. You said you thought you saw someone. I thought I did. I didn't mean to fuck up your car, though. Well, if you thought you saw someone, I'm glad you did that. Considering how slow we were going, I'd rather the car run into dirt than run over somebody. Now, just hold still for a second so I can check you out. Your face planted into my arm pretty hard back there. Dev gently turns Cameron towards the headlights of the still running car, lightly running his blunt claws through the fur. I thought it was an otter. I could see the tail and everything. One of Devon's claws grazes over a small lump in the Cameron's fur on the bridge of his snout, and the coyote winces. Does that hurt? A little bit. I didn't even notice until just now. Well, that's probably from my elbow. What about your arm? Are you sure it's all right? Cameron starts doing his own check of Devon's arm. Dude, my arm is fat. Ow! The bear yelps as Cameron prods right into a spot that was suddenly becoming very sore. Did that really hurt that much? Not really. Just surprised me. Really? Yup, see? Bending it without pain. Yeah, I believe you. Just be careful with it. Cameron sighs, looking back at the Jeep. I'm going crazy. The relief Devon had felt after seeing Cameron returning to his usual snarky self deflates at those words. What? Oh, no, you're not. We're both on edge right now. Well, it really did feel like I was losing my mind for a minute there. Oh, thanks for helping me. Of course. Now, just got to check out the damage. Yeah. The back wheels aren't even touching the ground. Well, I'll have a better look. Hang tight, babe. All right. Devon starts to analyse the state of his Jeep. You can tell right away they aren't going anywhere. Both front wheels are almost buried in the sandy trench below, and both the back wheels are definitely off the ground, the undercarriage balanced on the road's edge. Still, Dev gets in, and after telling Cam to stand clear, very gently tries to back out. The bear winces at the scraping sounds from the metal undercarriage, realising how desperate he is to get out of here considering how hopelessly stupid this attempt is. After realising he's only spinning the wheels deeper into the dirt, he stops. The bear turns off the engine, sighing and pressing his head against the steering wheel. Yeah, it sucked that his Jeep was probably all fucked up now, but he could easily afford another one. More than anything, he just wanted to be out of Echo. He thinks back on how strange it was that Cameron immediately tried to convince him he didn't do it on purpose. Devon didn't need to be convinced because he hadn't even considered that was the case. But because of how he brought it up. Devon quickly shuts that down, deciding that now isn't the time for shitty thoughts like that. Finally, the bear gets out, fixing a smile on his face again so Cameron won't feel so bad. Alright, so... Cameron? Dev looks around, and to his dismay spots the coyote a ways up the road, toward Echo again, though he's standing off the side right next to the lake. He's looking over the edge, down at the water. Hey, Cameron, you alright? The bear jogs up the coyote, putting an arm around him. You alright? Cameron finally turns to look at the bear. Yeah. Want to stay next to me, alright? I want you to be close after everything that's happened. I was just trying to stay out of the way. Are you looking for something? Dev looks over the edge at the murky water below. Almost immediately after, the bear instinctively pulls back, taking Cameron with him. Yeah, I just thought that because otters are good swimmers that maybe... Cameron lets out a fake laugh. Sorry, I'm crazy. Don't mind me. Come on, don't do that. Cameron goes quiet. Seeing just how unhappy Cameron is, the bear takes a deep breath, deciding to tell him. Back in the early 2000s, an otter kid drowned in this lake. I wonder if maybe that's who you saw? Really? Yeah, along with a few dozen other people over the last 70 years. I have a list for the lake and other places where you're going to go. So you're saying I saw that because I'm psychic? You don't seem very thrilled with that idea. I'm not thrilled with any of this anymore. It only reminds Dev that Cameron could see anything, terrible things, and that could lead to more mental anguish for his boyfriend. Anyway, we're stuck pretty badly. What do we do? Oh, don't worry, we got options. We'd want to get to the highway, but it's a bit of a walk, I think about 4 or 5 miles. That might be a bit too much with it being dark and on a half-destroyed road. I think we should try to get a little bit of sleep, then start walking at dawn. We'll have light. If we keep up a good pace, we'll get to the highway before it gets too hot and be able to flag down help. Cameron is quiet. So, what do you think? Remember a while back when I asked what we'd do if there was an emergency? You said there was still cell service in parts of the town. Did I? Yeah, Dev. You know what I'm talking about. It makes way more sense to find cell service right next to us and call for help rather than walk 5 miles. Well, I don't think it makes much sense at all, Cameron. We were looking for trouble, Devon. I think we'll be fine as long as I'm not trying to see shit. But you just saw... It's silent for a few excruciating seconds. I just want to get the fuck out of here and get you home. Cameron's ears twitch as Dev raises his voice, which seems to reverberate in the silence. The coyote just goes on standing there, arms crossed like they almost always were. Yeah, psychic or not, I'm unstable. We both know that already. No. But I'm not walking miles through scorpion and rattlesnake-infested desert when our solution is right there. Babe, please, I have a bad feeling. Sorry, who's the psychic here? Dev, I can do this, trust me. We're outside when the thing's haunted. We won't be looking for anything, so I'm going. Cameron! I'd prefer you came with me, though. God damn it! Devon hurries to catch up with his boyfriend, sliding his paw into Cameron's and gripping it tightly. Cameron has a look on his face like he's a bit pleased with himself. Devon can't figure out why. It's like the coyote thinks he's winning some kind of game, and Devon has to grit his teeth so he doesn't start an argument all over again. Just an hour ago, Cameron was sobbing after seeing and hearing terrible things. Now he's walking back in the same direction like it's nothing. Maybe the coyote is more resilient than the bear had always thought. Maybe the bear is finding out how not resilient he himself is. His stomach growls loudly when Cameron jokingly asks if he's hungry. Devon lies and says yes. In reality, it's from anxiety, something he isn't used to feeling all that often. The bear only finds comfort in gripping Cameron's paw even tighter and promising himself that he won't let anything else bad happen to them. Cameron presses up tight against Devon's side, breathing in the comforting scent of his cologne. Cam's false bravado was mostly faded at this point, especially as they passed in the motel. The coyote has to remind himself why it is he insisted on doing this when Dev had offered a perfectly reasonable, if slightly exhausting, alternative. Being exhausted is preferable to PTSD. But Cameron could sense the bear begin to treat him in a way that he didn't like, talking to him like he was fragile, like the slightest touch could tip him over where he'd shatter on the asphalt. He wants to prove that he can deal with this. Which is why he has to smirk at himself right now, as he definitely wouldn't have made it this far if Dev weren't by his side. Right now the bear has a steely grip on Cameron's paw, making it clear that he isn't letting go. Meanwhile, their free paws hold their phones, checking every now and then for a signal. Anything yet? No, wouldn't we get signal at the same time anyway? Well, I assume I'll get it first. Oh, because mine's not an android? Yup. If only I had the brain of an engineer to figure out how to work one. Actually, maybe I should turn mine off and let you search for signal. We should keep some battery life in one of our phones, just in case. Oh yeah, good idea. Your battery would probably die before we found service anyway. Cameron turns his phone off while Dev looks on. I wouldn't worry too much about it though. It's not like we're lost in the woods or something. And I let like 3 people know where we're going. We're going to be fine no matter what, babe. Famous last words if I ever heard them. Right up there with, here goes nothing, and I think I took too much. Yeah, right. Our last words are going to be, holy shit, we lived to 100. I'm pretty sure I'd screwed my chances of that with all the drugs I did. Along with eating fudge cakes for lunch when I'm at work. Oh, seriously, Cam? Hey, it's in the vending machine right next to my cubicle. Well, we're changing that as soon as we get back. How are you going to do that, aside from stalking me at work? Well, I'll make a lunch. They're going to have us start working from home on Monday, remember? I'll have plenty of time. Hell, I'll be surprised they don't start making you work from home soon. We'd be like co-workers. Ha, fat chance. They don't give a shit about our health there. Well, we'll see. Either way, you'll be living to 110, so you have plenty of time to think up your famous last words. Cameron has to wonder if their meandering conversation is purposeful on Dev's part, only to distract him from what's across the road. Either way, the coyote is thankful for it. Or you can make it there with me. About 15 minutes later, Cameron starts to become a bit more agitated. They're on a dirt road at this point. Every now and then they walk past crumbling structures of what used to be houses and trailers. I think the cell service stopped working since you read about it. Well, I don't know. They said it's pretty sporadic. Who said this exactly? The paranormal forum peeps. I hope they're trustworthy. Well, they are, or at least they have no reason to lie. I think the paranormal gives people incentive to lie, especially if you're not gifted. Sure, but we're talking about cell phone service, not ghosts. Could also be a scheme by those crazy locals to lure their victims into town. You're joking, but I know you're still worried about that, so I'll just point out that it's highly unlikely because that would leave too much of a paper trail. I'm not that worried, especially now that we've made it this far and nothing... Oh, shit. What? Damn it, I just had a bar for a split sec. The bear waves the phone around over his head, spinning in a slow circle. What the hell, Dev? You scared me. Oh, sorry, babe. Anyway, I think I came from this direction. Dev indicates a rather large group in the trees off the side of the road that forms a bit of a miniature forest. Of course, why does it have to be the creepiest thing in sight? You want to hang back while I check it out? No. Is that a question? Cameron doesn't respond. Instead, sliding his paw into the one Dev's offering, they start to make their way through the sagebrush. Oh God, imagine all the ticks we're picking up. Well, don't worry, babe. I'll come through all your fur when we get out of here. Want me to carry you? I'm fine. All right, just don't think about the tarantulas and scorpions. You suck so much ass. Your ass is the only ass I eat. Ugh. Dev grunts in a heavy, bearish way as Cameron wraps his arms around his neck and lifts his feet off the ground, forcing Dev to bridle carry him. Chuckling, Dev carefully makes his way through the rough terrain, while the coyote awkwardly keeps his feet lifted high so they don't brush the sage. Dev finally lowers the coyote near the edge of the forest, and they stand there, looking into the blackness. Cameron can only see the branches outlined against the moonlight, otherwise it's almost like looking into a void. The feeling of emptiness is emphasized by the suddenly quiet desert around them. So I've got like one bar. Well, data isn't working. You know, trees should make it harder to get a signal. Can you make a call? Well, I can't open my insurance app, so I don't know what the preferred towing companies are, and well, I'm just realised that most probably won't come out here anyway since Flake Road doesn't technically exist anymore. Flake Road? Well, something like that. I'm sure it's not that. So we're not getting towed out and you don't even know the name of the road we crashed on. Are you saying we're stuck here? Like, really stuck? Well, my Jeep probably is, not us. The highway's still within walking distance, remember? I'm such an idiot. I can't believe I got us into this mess. Hey, I don't give a shit about my Jeep. Besides, I just got an idea. Dev taps on his phone a few times, then puts it up to his ear, but only for a few seconds before he scowls. What? A call dropped, but it rang for a sec. We are so dead. I've killed us. Oh, stop it, honey. I'll try texting. Who are you texting? An old friend of ours. Who? Oh, damn it, I swear the bar keeps disappearing every time I try to send. Oh, I'll try some different angles. Dev is hunched over his phone, tapping away. Cameron just sighs, letting Dev do whatever it is he's doing. Despite the bear's attempts to placate him, the coyote knows that they both know this is his fault. Why didn't you just tell me what a stupid idiot piece of shit I am? Cameron doesn't want to admit it, even in his mind. But one thing he liked about Dylan was that he didn't sugarcoat things with the coyote. He'd tell him when he was an idiot, either with words or fists. The coyote turns his attention back to the forest, staring into the dark. Dev doesn't know anything about him and Dylan, and Cameron sure as hell is never going to tell him. Especially that sometimes he was the one to swing first. He always lost. The few hits he'd land always felt worth it. That'd be a real treat for you, Dev. Not only is your boyfriend crazy, he's violent too. Does he even know you at all? A chill goes up Cameron's spine. That didn't feel like his own thoughts, even though it came from inside his head. Cameron moves closer to Devon, rubbing his arms. Oh, just send, damn it. Devon? Just a second. A few already went through, just got to confirm some things with him. The void seems to get bigger, and even though he wants to look away, Cameron can't. He knows he's sensing again, even though he isn't meaning to. I don't know what it was. That's what really bothers me about it. Oh, I think I could handle something like a ghost, but not something like that. So it was just me and my wife taking a walk through the old forest like we always did, and then, I don't know, just got this weird feeling and everything went real quiet. Then his voice started. A man's voice. It was kind of eerie, like it wasn't real. Hard to explain, but it's like it was an electronic thing. A machine. Started yelling at us in this sort of playful way, like it was making fun of us or taunting us. Said things like, "The devil walks beside you, and I'm taking you to hell." Weird crap like that. Well, it's coming from the tops of the trees. You could kind of hear it go up and down and come closer, like it was swinging through the branches. And yeah, it scared us because it didn't make sense. The voice, where it was coming from, what it was saying, none of it made sense. And that's the scary part. So we ran, and then it said some nasty things about my wife, so I picked her up and ran as fast as I could. Later, she told me she saw it over my shoulder in the trees. I had a hard time explaining it, which I understand because I can't explain it at all, but she said it was a shadow. A shadow person who was moving through the branches. She said light bent in a weird way around its body, like it was encased in a glass globe or something. She hasn't said much else about it. She doesn't like talking about it, neither do I. I'm only telling you because I feel like there needs to be a record of it somewhere. It just feels wrong to go into this life without, I don't know. And people know that unexplainable stuff happens to a lot of people, and I hope we figure out why. And this might not be important, but I had dreams afterwards where I'd be in that forest. This shadow creature would come prowling out into the open. And sound would come from where its mouth would be. I'd hear a young man screaming for help, all distorted like it was recorded on the tape. And then there'd be this high-pitched laughter. Shit! Ah! Did you hear that? That laugh. Yeah, it sounded like a drunk dude kind of far away. Your screaming is what made me scream. It's like a cackle, like a cartoon witch or something. It's right next to us. I've heard it before. Well, I wouldn't say it was like a witch. It was kind of high-pitched, I guess. But again, it was kind of distant. I think we should go. Oh, why? I think it's just like a drunk hick or something. I'm almost done messaging Artie. Something bangs like a screen door swing closed and not very far away.
Who's that squealing? Hey, you Duke? Got me a 12 gauge right here to make you squeal twice as loud if you're snooping round my property again.
Dev's voice drops to a whisper. Holy shit. Then before Cam can fully absorb exactly what's happening, Dev is pulling him along, running full tilt through the sagebrush toward the road and back toward Lake Emma. Dev's feet ache from the plethora of rocks he'd trampled on, the tough pads on the undersides feeling almost torn up from the rough terrain. He's thankful, though, if only for the fact he hadn't run himself and Cameron into a cactus. Dev. Cameron's voice jerks with every running step. We're almost there. Dev huffs and puffs for air. No way, he's a bit more out of shape than he realised. He hadn't run in earnest for at least a few years. Dev, we're out of the town. The bear slows down as his stuck jeep is in sight. He sets Cameron down on his feet for doubling over to rest his paws on his knees, wheezing. Fuck. Give me a minute. Jesus, you okay? It sounds like you're dying. Dev.
My fucking thigh is cramping like a motherfucker. Oh, holy shit.
Dev's large ear hits the ground with a thumb as he reaches down to massage the back of his thigh. Oh, thank God.
What?
Lay on your back. Before Devon can even follow the directions, Cameron takes the bear's right leg and slowly lifts it up, making Dev spasm as the cramping muscle is slowly stretched out.
Oh, fuck. Well, this is what I get for not running since, college.
Cam gently rocks the leg back and forth. You've run since then. Remember that stupid company triathlon thing we did where you carried me on your back and ran across a soccer field? Despite the light conversation, Cam keeps looking over his shoulder toward the town, just waiting for a mob of hillbillies to come raging up the road. Man, I told you, Dev, the people here are psycho. Dev grunts as Cameron stretches his leg back again.
Well, I think he wasn't being serious, but yeah, you're right. All the more reason to get the fuck out of here.
Dev finally pulls his foot back, gingerly getting to his feet while continuing to rub at his thigh.
I've never had a cramp so painful. Well, I guess I'm getting old.
Take it easy next time. You were more scared than I was. You said yourself he was just a drunk hick. You've got the part where he's got a shotgun. Yeah, I'd be more surprised if he didn't have one. Think he's going to come looking for us. We're not hard to find out here. Sounded like he thought you was some other hick. I think we're fine. I suppose you can put trailer trash in the same category as hick, so that makes sense. We can keep an eye out for right now, though, just in case. So, who are you texting? Artie from college. He just happened to be up and he's still living in Mesa. Said he'd drive out right away so he could be here in like 3 hours. Huh. Why Artie, though? Well, I don't know. He's top of my contacts list. I knew he still lived in the States, so I gave it a shot. He can give us a ride at least, I guess. Well, he's got one of those massive trucks, so he might be able to pull us out. His last message said he'd be here in 3 hours or less. Well, I guess that's not bad. As long as we're out of here by morning, I don't want you getting caught out in the heat all day. We got a shit ton of water, if I need to cool down. Devon waves his paw at the lake. Cameron stares at the lake, seeming to think, then looks back at Dev. Listen, while we're in the forest, I don't know, I didn't see anything, but I think I did some light touch sensing, the right way. Now it's Dev who finds himself becoming upset. What? Why'd you do that? Well, it kind of just happened. I made sure to not interact or anything, and it was just fine. At least for the most part. What I heard was creepy. Okay, well, now I'm going to tell you to be careful again. I don't want you going through what happened in the motel ever again. Well, like I said, I couldn't exactly help it. Anyway, do you know about the shadow person in that forest that spoke with a distorted electronic voice? Devon is caught off guard. He knows Cameron is trying to take the focus off the fact he's still messing around with the supernatural in a dangerously supernatural place. He also knows exactly what Cameron is referring to. The chattering haunted echo titled Entities of Static described exactly that, and in the thick of trying to figure out who to call, he hadn't realised that was the forest. Dev's surprise must be pretty obvious as Cameron grins. No way, am I right? Cameron's sudden joyous reaction surprises the bear. Well, yeah, you're right. Can you believe this? Oh, sorry, I don't know why I'm happy. It's just, there's a fucking reason for me being the way I am. I can't deny it anymore. It's hard to explain. That kind of changes my entire life. Cam's bottom lip trembles with emotion, and Dev shakes off his feelings of unease, drawing him to a hug. Come here. I know what you mean, baby. Well, I personally don't know, but I've wanted you to feel that way for a long time. I'm really happy for you. I feel like I can do something. I don't know, maybe even help people with this? Cameron's voice is muffled against Dev's chest. Oh, sure, of course. Let's find a better place than here, okay? Dev nuzzles Cameron reassuringly. Look out, he doesn't answer. And even though that bothers the bear, he doesn't press the issue, just wanting Cameron to feel happy for now. Cameron sits in the trunk of the jeep, legs hanging out over the edge, dangling toward the ground that's further away than usual due to the tilt. He rests his back against the back seats, the angle providing a pleasant recline. Meanwhile, he fiddles with old acoustic guitar, been stashed in the jeep for at least a year, tuning it slowly. He hadn't even remembered it was there until they folded down the seats for a place to try and sleep. He last played it at Devon's parents' house because they wanted to hear him play. They just left it there in the jeep afterwards. He hadn't had a reason to play it since. The rest of the night, or early morning, hadn't been terrible. Dev was easily comfortable, the hard surface not all that different from his side of the mattress, which was rock hard compared to Cameron's much squishier foam. He had tossed and turned until Dev finally pulled him in to lay his head on the bear's stomach, the soft warm surface enough to lull Cameron to a dozing state of consciousness, while Dev snored loudly. He'd gotten used to snoring after all these years, and now found it comforting rather than annoying. It was a good night, considering the circumstances. Dev had been unsure about sleeping in the tilted jeep at all, because it gave him a bad feeling. He also had a bad feeling about Cameron going back to the motel with him, so he'd left him here alone while the bear gathered up the rest of their stuff. 5 hours had passed since Artie texted Devon, so the bear had been getting antsy about that as well. They'd had a bit of an argument, and Cameron only agreed to stay behind when Dev promised not to go back to that forest to text Artie again. Now Cameron sits here moping, the feeling of a lopsided relationship returning. I suck at guitar. He mumbles to himself quietly out of habit, knowing people didn't like hearing it since he was good enough, which had been his goal. All of his singer-songwriter idols played guitar. He'd wanted to be just like them. He'd forced himself to learn how to become good enough, with all the awkward fingerings, the constant tuning, and the pain of holding down steel strings with his finger pads, even after he built up calluses. That's how he described guitar in general, the pain. He preferred the piano, and that's where he used to write all of his music. But the devastatingly sad men of the 90s Northwest indie music scene didn't play piano. They played guitar, because they were also rugged and tough, moulded by the logging towns they originated from. Turns out that one's image is just as important in indie as it is in pop, despite the former trying to convince itself it isn't. So Cameron had tried to conform to that, and in the end it hadn't mattered. The hours and hours dedicated to learning an instrument through high school and college now felt wasted. Still, the feeling of the instrument is familiar in his pores, even if his fingers are already getting sore. Try to think of one of his less embarrassing songs. One of the ones where he wasn't just wearing the influence of cloudy, dreary northwestern cities on his sleeve, even though that's where he was from. He tried and failed to duplicate their poetic and opaque lyricism. Instead, he found himself slipping back again and again to the style of his own generation. While his idols of the 90s wove lyrics that forced the listener to delve into something complex, to find meaning in the metaphors and symbolism, singer-songwriters born in the 90s, like himself, presented their lyrics in a more literal, honest way that often described specific situations with seemingly nothing hidden. To Cameron, it was two sides of the same coin. Instead of discovering meaning and complexity, it's about discovering complexity and simplicity. He sighs, deciding it was tuned well enough. He glances up, making sure Dev isn't heading back before playing. He was badly out of practice. He starts to slowly warm up. Cameron sings quietly, almost under his breath. This particular song got the attention of an independent label on the West Coast after one of their scouts heard it on the college radio station. They'd signed him in his junior year of college. Looking back, it was the high point of his life. Dev had celebrated in earnest, happily telling him they'd make more money than he himself ever would. What Cameron didn't realise was that even after being signed, he could still be dropped without releasing any of his music. After what was probably the lowest point in his life, they did just that. Dropped over a text message with his agent saying the demos he'd made in studio weren't up to their quality standard. That hurt a lot, because he knew it was true. He'd been nervous the entire time, and his output wasn't even close to what he was capable of. Though he tried to comfort himself with the idea that most musicians went it alone these days, his own postings on the internet barely got more than a few dozen listens. Then he finally realised that he was in it for the wrong reason. SP is just like playing music, throwing stuff out into the ether whether anyone heard it or not. Cameron needed an audience to stay motivated, be famous, so in a way, I fucking deserved it. At least Devon never brought it up. Cameron stops playing, having seen brownish fur at the corner of his eye. He thinks it's Dev, and immediately feels his face flush, freezing and just sitting there. This is why he didn't play or sing in a serious way these days. Now it just feels like showing off a skill he's never really skilled at in the first place. But after a while, he doesn't hear anything. No voice, no footsteps. And biting through his embarrassment, Cam looks up the road where he'd been certain his boyfriend had been watching him. Dev? The silence is heavy and thick. I just got this weird feeling everything went real quiet. Cameron stares up the empty road. The feeling of unease growing till he finally shoves his guitar to the side and pulls out his phone, tapping on the mindless gaming app to distract himself. Nope, not doing this again, not right now. And even though the road remains empty, and even though the sun shines brightly above, illuminating everything around him, the feeling of what is becoming a very familiar dread continues to grow. Then that light shining down on everything changes, shifting to a more golden glow. What the hell is going on? Cameron had a few bad trips in the past, shrooms being the worst, and that was what gave him his first panic attack. In a strange way, this feels very similar. Please, not now. I have control, and I'm saying not now. No control. Shit. That voice, well, that feeling, instantly made all the fur on the back of his neck stand up. Dev, come back now, please. Cameron starts walking up the road toward Echo just under a mile away. The panic creeps up his neck like he's drowning. Till last night he hadn't had a panic attack in over 2 years. Now it's like his brain's relearned the spiraling process of gasping for air that's readily available, but still feels out of reach. He fights the urge, counting, trying to remember the pace of Dev's steady breaths. And he wanted to reject Eddie, he needed Dev to face his fears. Doesn't he know how to handle this, how to do it safely? Cameron also knows that running to Dev will also only make things worse for his boyfriend. Did he want to stress him out even more? The coyote stops, then turns around slowly. Just like that, the feelings of panic and terror slowly fade away to be replaced by a feeling of purpose. Something solid. Something resolute in its existence. Something that's already happened. Nothing can be done to change it. A feeling of acceptance. Cameron's walk slows to a more measured pace, mirroring someone just outside of his view. In another place? No, in this same exact place, just in a different time. Cameron knows what's happening, and he questions what he's about to do. With this new feeling of calm assuredness, the coyote decides to let it happen. Dev didn't want him doing this because he had a change of heart, but so was Cameron. This is his choice to make. So he lets it happen. And he senses this person. A girl. A feline. Walking just like him. Years and years ago. She tries to keep her sobs quiet, walking along the road by the lake. She's been looking forward to this for 2 months. She saved up money from babysitting jobs to buy her own dress, her own fake jewellery and her makeup. Her father had found the makeup a week ago and threw it away, telling her only bad things happened to girls who wore makeup. Even then, she still had the dance to look forward to. But now James, her ex from last year, had ruined it. He'd shown up drunk, proposed to her, then cussed her out a new boyfriend who she'd only been seeing for a month now, until he left. At least now she's glad she didn't have the makeup on with how wet her eyes are. This had been the last dance of the year at Echo High, and she was worried she's going to graduate with no boyfriend at all, and no money to go anywhere. Lost in her thoughts, she notes his fast, pounding footsteps only seconds before it happens. Before it happens. She sees James as it happens. She realises what's happening in that same moment. Knowing him, this is actually something she expected. And in that moment, she decides that maybe this is for the best. Cameron? Lost in the vision, Cameron feels himself recoil from something touching him. Cameron loses his balance, windmilling his arms comically, and he has a split second to recognise Dev. The bear has his paw out, like he'd been resting on the coyote's arm. The look of shock is mirrored on his boyfriend's face, before he goes over the edge and straight into the lake. Cameron! The coyote expects to go under, and stay under, just like the girl from Echo High School. The jolt goes to his body as his ass lands hard on the rocky surface of the lake, just a foot below the surface, and Cameron yelps loudly. Fuck! Cameron looks up to see Dev getting ready to jump in. I'm fine. At first, Cameron is just embarrassed, like he got caught doing something he shouldn't, which is sort of the case, at least in Dev's mind. It's not as deep as it used to be. What? As he climbs out with Dev's help, though, that embarrassment changes to anger. The coyote grunts and snarls quietly as he automatically starts stripping off his clothes, his plaid shirt and jeans sticking to him in the most annoying way. Dev hovers over him, trying to help but mostly getting in the way. Dev, you have a list of people who died in the lake, right?
What? What are you talking about? You just fell into the lake. Oh, stop talking about this shitty town and let me make sure you're...
Oh, that's real rich coming from you. I've been saying that to you for the past 5 years, and yet here we are. So no, I won't stop. Give me the list or I'll just look it up myself.
Dev glares, making himself look big. But Cameron doesn't budge, even though in that moment he realises his phone got wet, and he can only hope it's still going to work after this. After a few seconds, the bear deflates.
Please, I just want to be out of here. I'll do whatever you want afterwards. Let's just go home first.
That cools Cameron's outrage for the time being. Never had seen Dev look so defeated. We will go home, and I'm sorry I'm being like this. But you have to understand this is changing everything for me. I just need this little bit, okay?
Okay. Well, I'm not leaving your side until we're out of this town, okay?
Didn't I tell you this was a bad idea at the very start? Cameron tries to lighten the mood a bit, not liking the conflicts they were having on this little trip. They hardly had any for coming here. Now they have such different ideas of what they should be doing, it's like they're in a tug of war. Dev takes out his phone, bringing up the document he'd been using to map out the supernatural happenings and history of Echo. So, it was a girl, teenager, a bobcat, like from the 50s, I think? A student from Echo High School. Dev raises his brows, scrolling slowly on his phone, then he looks back up.
Yeah. June 1954, a bobcat drowns after committing suicide by jumping in the lake, reportedly after an argument with her ex-boyfriend.
So the fucker got away with it?
Who? How's your tail feel, by the way?
Dev is running his paw along his tail, feeling out the vertebrae. Cameron finds the bear's disinterest in all this more and more irritating, especially now that he's found what feels like its purpose. He can help somehow. Dev hits a bruised spot on his tail, and Coyote yelps before shoving his paw away. Ow, oh, not now, Dev. Listen, her boyfriend killed her. I saw him run up and push her into the lake.
Did you have to experience that? Do you feel okay?
Dev, I'm not important here. It's about someone who got murdered and some piece of shit got away with it.
First of all, don't call yourself unimportant. You're still alive and you need to keep it that way by not falling into lakes because of these awful visions.
I need to tell her family, or at least someone, so people know the truth. Dev frowns deeply at the coyote.
Listen, babe. I know you can see things that I can't and all. But I gotta be honest and say that no one's gonna care. They're dead. The girlfriend and more likely her ex, too.
That's short-sighted as all hell, Dev. He could definitely still be alive, having lived a full life after murdering someone. She might have siblings who are still alive, or... I don't know, I think someone probably gives enough of a shit about it to want to know.
And then, what? You go up to them and tell them you're psychic and had a vision of their loved one dying? Besides, I think they probably all know what happened. There just wasn't enough evidence.
Cameron feels his face get hot, glaring at the asphalt. You wanted me to do this and you wanted answers. Why are you holding me back now?
Because I'm terrified right now. Oh, this town and the ghost of you getting hurt somehow because the rate things are going. That's probably what's going to happen. I want to know where Lupita is. But she does have made stupid mistakes. I can't have the same thing happen with you.
Cameron's face gets hot again as he realises Dev is about to cry, and his resolve wavers. He starts to step forward, to hold Dev like the bear had held the coyote so many times. But then... The two of them look up the road, see a rather small sedan pulling up the road, a figure inside waving enthusiastically through the windshield.
What the hell? Where's his truck?
Devon, Cameron, sorry I'm late. I had trouble finding this road. Then I had trouble driving on it. Did I catch you in the middle of something?
Where the hell is your truck?
Huh?
Look at my Jeep. I told you I was stuck, man.
Ah, this is not the reunion I was expecting. Thought you just wanted a ride. Besides, even if I pulled you out, your Jeep's fucked. I can tell from here. Be nice, Dev. He's doing us a favour. Hey, Cam. Hey, Artie. I fell in the lake, so that's why I'm half naked right now. Ha, that's hilarious. Did you push him in, Devon? Already makes me feel like I'm back in college.
Oh my god.
Hey, you guys ghost hunting? Can I join in before we head out?
Nope.
Oh, why not?
Because we're done.
Dev, we can probably walk around a little bit before we go. We went on a really long drive.
What?
Dev sounds incredulous, and Cameron can understand why. Despite what the bear said moments ago, he still wanted to explore further. Cameron knows that once he leaves, he'll probably never come back to this place again. Damn, Dev, did the two of you switch places or something? Anyway, I agree with Cam. I've got to stretch my legs out a bit. Dev looks down at Cameron, apparently at a loss for words. Cameron can't meet his gaze, so he looks down the road, toward Echo, toward the place he's positive has more answers to all his questions. He needs this. To be continued. Great job, Howley, and everyone involved. This has been a great VN. I love Cameron's reason for going back after the crash there. And sometimes you watch a horror movie or it's like read a horror story and why are these people so dumb? Why are they going there? Cameron, I know why you did what you did and I support you totally. I couldn't say anything else. I understand where he's coming from, really. I've done that kind of thing myself. Also, I can understand Dev perfectly well, wanting to protect him. They're a great couple. Personally, I disagree with this idea about their like Leo and Chase, which some people have been bringing up. Yeah, you have your opinions, don't worry. I'm not arguing with you. I think these two have a different relationship going on there myself. I say I love the both of them. And I have to give a quick mention to Mo, who, while I was voicing Cameron, was being Cameron's guitarist. He was the one responsible for that music you heard there, and I'll put a link to the channel as well in the description so you can listen to it. And just before I go, I have to give a special thanks to Grizz, Evan King, David Taylor, The Beholder, Samuto, Dissonance, Brandon Bradford, Anubis Silverwind, Ida Corval, Tiger Cub, Sindri Dragowolf, Gunnar Muller, Brian Hall, Marcus and Bastian, who are my top patrons. And thanks to everyone who supports me on the Patreon as well. Much appreciated. And thanks for watching, by the way. So, as I said, I should be going back to Dawn Chorus on Saturday. And for anyone interested in London's Aesop, and I just heard earlier today that it should be out within the next 10 days. So, maybe not this weekend, but I'm thinking probably somewhere on the, he says calculating, 10th of July, that weekend. Hopefully I can get another episode of London's Aesop done up. We'll get to see Roko again. So that's something else to look forward in July. And there should be some more Interia next month as well, from what Howley said. So that's just about it for Archers for now. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.